How do we take this untamed beast of a machine and turn it into a refined sports car? What are the most important mods you can make to a car like this, and why the hell are these sliders so damn confusing? I've developed an easy 5-step process that'll take this flightless bird and turn it into a great horned owl. This is how to modify a Civetta Bolide. The first step in our modification journey has to start with identifying the problems we want to solve. This car has a lot of them. My biggest issue is that the front brakes lock up way too fast. The second issue I want to solve is that the suspension is way too soft. The third issue I really want to solve is that the car oversteers to no end. It would be fine if the car was really easy to save, but unfortunately it doesn't have a drifting steering rack, so a majority of the time you're just spinning. The last thing I want to solve is that the car feels really floaty when turning at high speeds. A lot of our issues have to do with maintaining grip in various different situations. Now, your natural instinct might be to apply the biggest wing you can find and slap on some racing tires. Yes, this will solve your problem, but unfortunately, you're not learning anything in the process. So we're going to do a whole bunch of modifications with some specific rules. Rule number 1, I can't make any changes to the body. That means no aero, no body kits, no nothing. Rule number 2, no engine mods. This car has plenty of power, it doesn't need any more. What we really need to focus on is making sure that our tires are stuck to the ground. Rule number 3 is that I can only use sport tires. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to change the wheels or tires that come on this car by default, but if you're following along, feel free to change them to whatever you'd like. Just remember, we got to do all this with sport tires only. Okay, so we've identified some problems we want to solve. Step number 2 is setting a lap time with the default configuration. After 12 attempts on Asphalt Hill Climb 2, my best attempt was 2 minutes and 53.022 seconds. And that's going full try hard with little to no mistakes. I will be very impressed with myself if I'm able to shave off any more time from that lap. That is a fantastic time. Now that we have a good idea of what this car is capable of without any modifications, let's go ahead and start putting some new stuff on. A quick disclaimer before I go on and make all these changes. I'm going to be copying all the settings from a configuration that I've made in the past because I feel it provides the best driving experience for my specific playstyle. If this configuration doesn't feel right to you, feel free to take any of these values and change them around as you see fit. I'm going to be making a total of 5 changes to this car. The first thing we're going to want to change is the differential. I'm going to change it to a race limited slip differential. The second thing I'm going to change are the coilovers. We're going to go with rally front and rear coilovers. The third thing is going to be a quick ratio rally steering rack. The fourth thing is front and rear race sway bars. And the last change is going to be race front and rear brakes. But we're still keeping the sport pads that come on it by default. With those 5 modifications, we're not going to notice too big of a change in the handling of this car just yet. It's still going to be super floaty and unpredictable. And it's still going to be kind of hard to save it from oversteering too much. But what you will notice is that those bumps don't seem to be as aggressive as they were before. The real bread and butter behind all these modifications is the tuning tab. When you go into the tuning tab, you'll notice you have a lot more sliders to play with. Starting from the top and working our way down, the front and rear brake bias, I like to set it to 57%. The power locking rate in the differential, we're going to leave it at 35. The coast lock, we're going to set it to 5%. The preload torque, we're going to set to 85 Newton meters. The anti-roll spring rate, so that has to do with our sway bars, we're going to set that to 50,000 for the front and 25,000 for the rear. The fast bump dampening for the front and rear, we're going to max out at 25,000. The bump dampening, we're going to set to 15,000 for the front and 12,000 for the rear. The rebound, we're going to set to 8,500 to the front and 12,000 for the rear. Our spring rate for the front and rear is going to be set to 65,000. Our spring height for the front and rear are going to be set to negative 0.035. Our camber for the front is going to be set to negative 11%, and for the rear, negative 18%. Our caster for the front is going to be set to 66%. Our toe for the front is going to be set to negative 11, and for the rear, positive 10. So how did I figure out that these were the best values for tuning my alignment? A longtime friend of the channel, 2Pixel, put me onto a debug UI app, which actually tells you the alignment within the game world. You see, unfortunately, setting all of these sliders to 0 in the alignment section doesn't actually center or perfectly align your wheels. There's a ton of factors that change the alignment of your wheels. So if you use this debug UI app, it'll actually tell you if something is zeroed. So you can play around with these values and figure out exactly what alignment you want for your car. It sucks that zeroing these sliders out doesn't just perfectly zero the alignment, but it makes sense when you think about suspension geometry, but that is another discussion for another video. If you want to know more about what all these values do, I will link a Reddit post in the description that'll give you a comprehensive guide on all of this stuff. All right, now that we got all these fancy pants mods done to our car and a whole bunch of tuning, let's come back and see if we can beat that time, which again, I will be very, very impressed if I'm able to shave any more time off that lap. That was a crazy lap.
That was a pretty good run. That was a pretty damn good run. Come on, come on, come on.
Woo! There it is. Almost 2 seconds off. Holy crap. And I still feel like I made a couple mistakes that were taking a little bit of time off. That feels damn good. I can probably beat that too. Honest to God, I think I could get it down to a 250. Maybe. I might be able to get it down to a 250. Ooh. We'll see. We'll see. I'll give it a couple more goes, but I think that one was it. Future Scrunkles here. I completely forgot to talk about step 5. The final step in our 5-step modification journey is saving our configs. All of this is all for naught if we can't go back to the configs that we've made time and time again to enjoy in single player or multiplayer. So in case you're new here, hit Control W, go over to save and load next to debug, name it whatever you want, and then save that config. I'm going to overwrite it because I already have one. I'm going to just replace it. And there you go. Now you can call back to this save whenever you like, either in single or multiplayer. Okay, back to old Alex. But yeah, that's the beauty of tuning and modifying cars in BeamNG.drive. This game is extremely in-depth and there's a lot to cover. And like I said before, there's definitely more time within this vehicle with this tune alone. But you have to remember, we didn't touch aero, we didn't touch power, we didn't touch the tires. There's a bajillion things that you can mess around with within this game. So do it. Play around with those sliders, do some research, figure it out. If you really take the time to try to fix some of the flaws that BeamNG maybe potentially intentionally put within these vehicles, you might just discover that you have a new favorite car within BeamNG.drive. And I highly recommend just to take it slow initially. Don't go changing everything about the car right away. Pick one issue you want to solve and try to work it out piece by piece. If you've been following along at home, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it made the experience of driving the Civetta Bolide just a little bit more pleasurable, because god damn, this car is hard to drive. It only says I made like 16 or so attempts on Asphalt Hill Climb 2, but trust me, I tried way more than that. Thankfully, BeamNG doesn't save the attempts that were not completed, if that makes sense. So for all the laps that I sent it into a tree or a bin or hit a fire hydrant or something along those lines, it didn't save those, thankfully. It makes me look like a much better driver than I actually am. But that's gonna be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe if you're new. If you're not new and you're not subscribed, what the hell are you guys doing, man? Just hit the damn button. It's not that hard. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.